Hello everyone, this is Robert Worm again, and in this video I'm going to perform the departure out of Jauja Francisco Carle for the return flight back to Lima. George Chavez, Latam Peru, is flying this route in real life with an A319, and the departure will happen out of runway 13. It's a VFR departure, and the rest of the flight is IFR. If you file a flight plan on Aveo or VATSIM, you have to file a Zulu flight plan. The VFR part will end at Huancayo, which we plan to pass at 22,000 feet. with a speed of 215 knots indicated airspeed. This ensures that we are already flying above the Mora when we switch over to IFR. The Mora, the minimum off-road altitude is 21,700 feet. Look at it over here. This is the VFR chart, and for IFR flying you can see 21,700 feet as minimum off-road altitude in the sector. 22,000 feet is also my choice for a transition altitude. The IFR part then is direct Monku, and then to Aldal via the Uniform Tango 226 airway. You can see it here. The alternate destination is Pisco Sierra Papa Sierra Oscar, which has standard IFR procedures. Our visual reference Huancayo is also represented by the fix Sierra Papa Romeo 42 in the FMES flight plan as a complementary aid. I have chosen to fly this departure manually with raw data. This means that the flight director will be initially off. And as you can see, the FMA modes, they go away. They will not be announced on the primary flight display. And speeds and thrust reduction, acceleration, altitude need to be memorized. Of course, I will then enter some data manually in the FCU. For example, the runway heading is very important. This is 129 degrees. And of course, I will enter the speed in the FCU soon. When you do a raw data departure with the flight director off and you advance the thrust levers, then the auto thrust will not engage automatically. I will engage the autopilot and the auto thrust after passing over Huancayo. So let's have a look at the weather here in Jauja. The wind is 360 degrees, 5 knots. According to the Avia weather app 5 minutes ago, QNH already set 1035, that's already checked. We have 10 degrees Celsius temperature. Our aircraft is measuring 6 degrees TAT at the moment. So we have VFR conditions, because we have no clouds, no ceiling. Very good. Visibility is is 10 kilometers or more. Alright, let's look at the options in case of an engine failure. Well, I see two options here. First, you can make a 180-degree turn over Huancayo with respect to the broken engine, left turn or right turn, and return to Jauja runway 31. Possible, well, if you have to do a single engine go around, then you would have the steep terrain to the north of the airport where you have to climb and turn with a single engine. Second, you could decide to cross the Andes with a single engine and fly to Lima. If you're able to cruise at 21,700 feet, the minimum off-road altitude for VFR flying. And let's look at the airway. On the Uniform Tango 226 airway that we have planned in our route, the minimum altitude is flight level 250, but as you can see in the lower airspace, there's the Tango 226 airway that allows you to cruise as low as flight level 200. If you can do this with your single engine, then you can decide to cross the Andes and land in Lima. Well, I suggest the following memory hook for simplicity. If the engine failure happens below 22,000 feet, I would then return to Huancayo. Once above 22,000 feet, I would continue to Lima. So at least I have this simple memory hook to hold on if the situation becomes confusing. Now, after we have an overview about the flight, let's look at the takeoff performance data. I have already calculated those. Here you can see my calculation. I just noticed that the winds have changed and the temperature has changed according to the Alien Weather app, so I will update this. Well, what else to say about the takeoff performance data? Well, very important to mention is that the airport elevation is 11,034 feet MSL. Engine performance is weak, relatively weak, and ground speeds are relatively high. According to the FCOM that I have and to additional manuals that I use for the A320, the maximum certified altitude for the A320 for takeoff is 9,200 feet, meaning that this here is a non-standard operation, as I understand it. So we will definitely need toga thrust. I will keep the APU bleed on, and the PACs will be on, and the anti-ice will be initially off. Okay. Yes, and I've just adjusted the weather. Now let's calculate again. And here we have the data. I think I'm looking at my notepad and I can see that they haven't changed. One thing that I want to mention is the flap setting. I've manually chosen a flap setting of 2. Because if you leave this in the state Optimum, let's see what it does. Then it the calculator gives you flaps 1, and to my experience this is not good for a stable climb out. This is the reason why I go for flaps 2. The airplane handles better after liftoff with flaps 2 in this environment. Okay. Takeoff performance data is calculated and it is already in the box. Here we have this. As you can see, the transition altitude 22,000 feet. This is what I have chosen for this customized VFR departure. The thrust reduction and acceleration altitude is 12,540 feet. I have set this up. This is about 1,500 feet above ground level. Well, as we have the V-speeds, I will now enter V2 plus 10 for the raw data departure, because this is what we will initially have as a safe speed for climb out. The before start checklist is already completed, so I will now start the engines. Engine number 2 available. Engine number 1 start. Engine number 1 available. And the after start checklist. The anti-ice is off as planned. The ECAM status is okay, it's checked. Pitch trim is down 02. The rudder trim is neutral. Alright, we will do a runway backtrack, and I will do the taxi checklist while performing the backtrack. flying offline today, so no traffic around here. This is going to be on. And this too. Definitely necessary. The terrain on ND. After start checklist was completed and tax checklist. The flight controls first. Rudder full right. Full left, ailerons and spoilers, full right, full left, elevator full down, full up, flight controls checked, flap setting is 2, it's confirmed, radar predictive wind shear is 1 and auto, engine mode selected. Norm. And DK memo. Takeoff no blue. Taxi checklist completed. Entering an extended runway center line here. The line-up checklist. Runway 13 confirmed. TCAS is on and TARA. The PACs. PACs 1 and 2 are on and the APU bleed is on too. Line-up checklist completed. I've already inserted additionally extended runway center line. The alignment of the aircraft with the runway center line now is not perfect. I will have to compensate this once we start rolling. Let's do a takeoff. Standing on the brakes. Stabilized. Thrust is set. Speed is alive. We won. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Maintain 50 degrees of pitch. Okay, more. Alright, pausing the acceleration altitude. Lever climb. And accelerate. Only accelerated 215 knots. Speed checked, flaps 1. Huancayo is in sight. Speed checked, flaps up. After passing over Huancayo, I will engage a gentle turn towards Monco, our first waypoint for the IFR part, and then engage the automation. I think the landing lights then can be turned off. This can be turned off. Huancayo, 5 miles distance now. Alright, 22,000 feet. transition altitude, so engaging the standard QNH. .113, and do a gentle turn. And now we can also accelerate a bit. Our cruising altitude is flight level 260. It's the cruising flight level. So VFR, by now it is cancelled, and you can see here that the route is visible on the navigation display. I'll now adjust the heading a bit, and then I will gauge the autopilot for an intercept, and of course activate the flight director. Go to engage the auto thrust and the open climb, and turn towards our route. Well, let's go direct Monku now. Oh, here we have it. And we're reaching cruise altitude. We can go to manage speed. Yes, if you like the video, I appreciate your like and your subscription. Thanks for watching. I will now continue fly to Lima. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.